times, a lot of issues have been bothering us as Nigerians and bothering the general public. Um, those who own businesses, um, civil servants, even traders, everyone is either complaining of tax, some are saying overtrees, and also the hike in fuel pump price, popularly known as PMS. Now, all of these things coming together, and Nigerians are feeling that things are too hard. Everyone is feeling the bite. The president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has assured Nigerians that in a short while, everyone will enjoy, using his exact words, that Nigerians should be a little bit patient. Something is being done. I'm Peace Isaac Hero. My duty here today is to present you with a guest who is going to tell you and all of us if we're really overtaxed, why this taxes, and what can be done. After the break, I'll be introducing my guest. This is Fact, Face, and Forum. My guest today is Samson Awapila. Samson Awapila is a chartered accountant, is also a tax practitioner. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, the issue of and taxation. I'm going to start by asking, there's an increase in certain taxes. There are new taxes introduced, and then there's also an increase in VAT, value added tax, which is bringing a lot of complaints. Now, I want you to first start by telling us, are taxes, are people supposed to pay tax?
Okay, thanks so much for that question. Yes, people are supposed to pay tax. As the direct answer to your question, yes, people are supposed to pay tax. I will further go to say why. Because the government is a collection of institutions that deal with people, and the government has its responsibility to develop infrastructure, increase the social welfare services and programs, and a whole lot of things that we can't mention here because they are endless positives. But all of these things are built around taxes. That's the revenue the government takes from people to do all of this. In the absence of these revenues, the government resorts to borrowing, which comes at a huge cost to the people. That's more like depriving people of these privileges and these benefits. So yes, people are meant to pay taxes.
All right, so if people are meant to pay taxes, why are we complaining that we are being taxed?
Right. This is a very interesting one. Naturally, no one likes parting ways with his income. You have to make them understand why they have to part ways with it. But sometimes there's this question of, like you made your intro, you talk about Nigerians having a question of trust. People tend to ask, why are they parting ways with the monies they've made in form of taxes? While they are not happy parting ways with that money, the only thing that alleviates their feelings is when they see the benefits coming from these taxes they parted ways with. But now, let's not forget something. When we look at the principles of tax, any good tax system, a tax system is supposed to be convenient to the people paying these taxes. The tax system is supposed to be easy to understand, very simplified. This tax system is supposed to be charged in good faith. When you look at all of these things, they tend to make people bear with whatever taxes we are paying. So when you say people are not, or when you or I say people are not happy Are these principles being followed in this implementation of current taxes we have? Are the taxes simplified? Do people understand these taxes and why they're being taxed? Are they feeling fair? The taxes being fair? Because we have a tax that you say you can call a tax progressive or regressive. Progressive is when the tax is such that the more you earn, the more you pay. Regressive is when you're not earning so much, but you're paying higher. So sometimes people feel tax is regressive. Once they feel it's regressive, unfavorable to them, they tend to be unhappy. Now, when we look at all of these taxes are listed for companies, some are administered by state internal revenue service, some are administered by various agencies by virtue of their power. So you could look at the company income tax and say, oh, it's progressive. In isolation, it's progressive. In isolation, it's progressive. But when they come cumulatively, and you are using the collection of all these taxes to describe your tax system, they now start becoming inconvenient and start moving from being progressive to regressive. And to address our hope, which is what you were said, based on what the current president did in Lagos, he seems to have noticed this, being a professional himself. He seems to have noticed this, and he has taken a very positive step towards this by setting up a technical committee to look at how to harmonize all of these taxes into one place. The committee is headed by a very senior colleague of mine, Taiwo, who is a really seasoned tax practitioner.
The government is able to handle, like, bringing the whole tax. What about the ones with money names, like you mentioned, and all of those documents? How are they going to take care of those ones?
So a CDA could actually say, look, the situation of Omonile and machine ground, that as you call it in some other places, should be abolished.
Okay. So it's not that they are not really useful, right? It is being able to manage them.
Yes.
At this point, what should be done? Like you, or it gladdens my heart when you said that the government is already looking at how to harmonize the tax to ensure that these companies, are not taxed arbitrarily, right? Good. Now, at the point where it is now, what are we to say to people out there? Is it be patient, something is happening, or what?
So, considering the harmonization, the technical committee on ground, they will definitely, I believe it's a composition of a lot of professionals. The Federal Inland Revenue Service experts are there, as well as some external parties. And I know some of, like, Intertanko, which is an association of international tanker owners, actually were asking to be a part of the committee, so they could propose some things that would help our system seamlessly move on. Now, this committee, I believe, will be coming out with a lot of automations and technology, which is one major thing we need to address. If we don't address automation to a large extent, no matter what we do, there will be a lot of cases of tax evasion. We look at, in 2021, the Federal Inland Revenue Service chairman came out with the numbers that in the last 10 years, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Nigerian government had lost over $10 billion to tax evasion, which triggered the Federal Inland Revenue Service to try strengthening the international tax department. So today we have a lot of bilateral agreements signed with other tax jurisdictions where there's a lot of data sharing. So this is actually beginning to bring a lot of foreign companies into the Nigerian government tax net.
Something and what. So now, if I have to conclude in the interim, why we wait for government to work out all of this? We should continue to pay our tax.
Yeah, don't.
Don't worry about percent. Interestingly, which interestingly, Nigeria pays 7.5%. Cameroon is paying about 17.5%.
Can you imagine?
Of value added tax.
Oh,
Some African countries are paying 12%, some 12.5%. It's Nigeria at the time Nigeria had value added tax of 5%. Nigeria was if not the least charging for value added tax among the least charging for value added tax.
Now you have heard, you are complaining about value added tax increments. My guest here says we are even, paying lower than some other countries. So let's all be patient. Thank you. With fact, face, and fun. Today is loaded. There are some other burning issues which I didn't think I wanted to break the program into two because it's very important that we get to understand all of the things. And I had a chat with the guests in my office, and we trashed out some of them. Really did make sense in the discussions with them, and I believe that with awareness created, with you there watching and listening and having understanding of all of these things, you will be able to have a balance views about the administration with a balance. There was an increase in the pump price, fuel pump price. We're buying fuel at 187, 189, and then the next day after the inaugural speech of the president, we started buying fuel at 490, some 90, some 500, some 5. And just about when we are thinking that, okay, we're trying to just get used to this increment, a few days ago, we just heard. In fact, we found out that some police stations shut down and there was queue again. And people were querying the situation and were told that the pump price of fuel, known as PMS, has increased. Right now, some are selling at 590, selling at 600 and above that. And everybody is shouting. It's well, maybe I don't know how you are describing it right now, but people have said a lot of things. And for the average Nigerian, is hitting hard. Why this is the fuel price? And for NNPC to be championing it and determining the price? What was the mandate of NNPC in the first place? Now, business, okay? It's now NNPCL, that is NNPCL. They are now limited liability. Anyway, I have a guest here in the studio, Mr. Ikenna Ijoma. Mr. Ikenna Ijoma is a petroleum dealer with MRS. Assembly. Somebody said, if we don't get these checks, we may be buying fuel at 1,000 naira per liter at the end of the year. So what is going on?
So like you rightly said, I'm a dealer with MRS. So looking at it, you can say, okay, we are at the bottom of the food chain. So with the price determination, we don't really have much of a say. A lot of times we wake up to these prices too, like every other person. But what we understand, the two major things that we understand will necessitate this is the world price of crude. When if crude oil, the crude oil prices affect the pump price, and then because we are still importing, we also would have issues with price, because once the exchange rate goes up while importing, the price also has to go up because whoever imported has to make their money back. So from that angle, those are the two aspects of, things that necessitate this price change. Now, with the subsidy removal, I mean, it would have been advised either the subsidy would have been removed in phases, or a situation whereby refineries were at least working, or the modular refineries.
I want to ask you right now, this current increment,
Yes.
what's necessitated?
That's a pregnant question, honestly, because even if you get to MRS head office and ask the same question, they will give you 101 answers to it. So it's what would necessitate this would most likely be exchange rates. The truth of the matter is, looking at it a different way, some people who were selling at the lower price, we expected this to go up. Now, there are a couple of ways to look at it. At the time that price went to 482, there were people in Apapa, the depots, that still had stock that they bought at 170 something.
Exactly.
So they were selling,
including some people, the fuel station owners who had the old stock.
Yes. So I would explain that too. So when the price went up to 492, they were still selling the product they got for 170, 172, 180 something. Now, that product over a period of time got exhausted. They brought in the new one now that is devoid of subsidy, and that is what took the price up. Because the new product that it was brought in
is justifiable, because you've established they had fuel stock, old stock that they bought at 180 something when government was subsidizing.
Right.
Now, just hearing an announcement on 29th May, subsidy gone. The next day, the price